we have ourselves in the bottom left-hand corner the red Protoss player. This is Classic. Going up against the blue Zerg. In the upper right-hand side, we have ourselves Reynor. Game 1 of this best-of-5 final. We got this underway. And we are going to see already a drone moving onto the map and looking towards the gold base most likely here. Get that set to go. Find out some minerals. Move in this direction. Hatch going down, getting the gas, getting produced. Probe obviously coming over. We'll give Classic the info as to what's going on here. We've got ourselves again that getting the gas coming through. The hatch and the pool coming up on the side of Reynor. No gas just yet. We'll see when he wants to take that. I may just play with no gas for a little bit. Just boost that economy a while. Play for all the minerals early. This morning's update ruined your account. Every time you go to a channel, the game crashes. Apparently, you have to turn off the mature language filter in the social settings. That's what I did. Look at Classic go, man. Forge is already coming up here. He's going to cannon rush on the other side of this hatchery. And he's looking to deny this gold base real early in the game. So Classic, well, he's going to have drones coming his way. He is going to fully wall himself in here. What do these drones want to do then? Okay, we build one spine. There's only space for one cannon there, right? If there's only one cannon, are we that worried? Now we get a second cannon started up. Zealotron up as well. These drones kind of need to leave. Shame then that obviously one of these cannons that was very close to going down there is going to get the chance to finish. I guess the spine can still fight one cannon at a time, but it's not going to be ideal. These drones are going to have to pull away. No, we don't pull the drones away, so we're going to lose. Oh, Spore, no! He should have let the Spore tank another shot. I assume it could have tanked one more shot. A little bit of a shame as you just see the Overlords popping out. Spine going to try and get to the left side. It's going to try and relocate a little bit as Reynor has a couple of Lings, but they're running past, and they're taking some damage as well. So one Ling goes down quickly. A couple of Lings across the map, met by an Adept. Now, for all the damage that's being done, it's a big investment from Classic. It's money invested onto this pylon cannon setup. It's also no Nexus at home just yet as well. Got the Nexus down in the natural. A couple cannons are firing away. Hatchery will already be taking some shots, and just have ourselves the Ling speed, few Lings, and Hatchery. All of that continuing through. The cannons will finish up and knock down a few more Broodlings that pop, and now Reynor starts to take the natural. He's also building a whole chunk of Lings, so Ling production still on the way. Ling speed coming up, halfway done at the moment. Problem is, you can't just build Lings forever when you don't have the an extra hatchery to build off of, right? So, what does the plan become here from Reynor? He starts 4 more Lings again. And Classic is walled off. He can cannon. He's getting Stargate up. I'm not sure what Reynor does. Okay, now he starts a drone. He's going to have a bunch of Lings, though, and not really sure how useful all those Lings are going to be as the couple of Adepts come over, and they're now going to cause trouble. Slow Lings for a little while longer, and this is where the Adepts would love to just take as much of a fight as they can. Trying to catch these Lings in a corner. And they're not going to shade into the main base, but they will get themselves now some Ling kills. Well, not bad. The Spine Crawler is going to make it home. At least eventually the Spine Crawler can be used in, you know, some form of a defense, so there's something nice about that. Now do get their speed though, and the Adepts go down. Classic up 8 workers in this game. Oracle on the way, so he's going to be very safe against any Ling counterattacks. This is looking across the board pretty good for Classic. Definitely not ideal for Reynor. He's going to run some Lings to the other side, but I don't think there's going to be anything he can realistically find there for the foreseeable future, so I think that's going to be just trouble, trouble, trouble. Having ourselves a couple more probes coming about. Oracle's still over halfway done. Gonna see the queen gonna be there. It's gonna be firing up, and Oracle gets pushed away. Couple more probes, gateway building, assimilator building. The hatchery still setting up on the third for now. And we just have a Nexus dropping down as well. A couple more depths gonna be there. The Lings get pushed back. And again, a few more drones, a couple more queens still building through, a couple of cannons on the way as well. Queens get good damage on the first Oracle, as they do lose one drone only, so that's honestly a pretty good defense for Reynor. Right now, he needs to minimize any potential losses, so the more that he's able to, well, have moments like that where he defends well, the better off he's going to end up being. There's a few more adepts join up into the center. Twilight Council coming up with a Forge, getting the +1 attack upgrade. And Classic has this kind of warping point. Okay, slow warpings, but a battery and a couple cannons here, so it's somewhere to fall back to. Problem is that Spine Crawler is going to be a big point of defense, and that's something that Reynor just has from the earlier stages now, so funnily enough, that is going to be a big part of the reason why Reynor will probably be able to not be in too much trouble against these adepts, and he can be a little bit greedier on unit production. Doesn't need to produce units as quickly because that spine will cover him to some extent at the very least. Oracles dive through, going to get 5-6 workers. Queen still firing up. Oracle's very nearly going down. The rest of the adepts shading across. Lings fighting, adepts taking a bunch of damage. 7 drones going down. The adepts will continue to trade. This was really nice. 9 more drones killed off, and we are just going to follow up with Blinking +1. That's the sort of follow-up that Reynor might just die to, realistically. A good Blink army, a good push. Might be very difficult for the Zerg to do anything against, considering the opening. Oracles get the drones as they pull away from the Queen. So Classic being very tricksy in this game number 1. Love that move. The Adepts force the drones away, the Oracles wait on the other side. Boom, they jump on it. Very nicely done. +1 missiles, road drone, all of that coming through, extra drones in production. And robotics facility and cannon still building up, the extra gates coming through. The Stalkers warp in, the Oracles are still there. And we just have these Lings continue to move about. Reynor's about to finish +1 missiles, only just now finishing his road drone, so going to be only just able to get access to that right now. The Stalkers continue into the center. Lings are going to get pushed about. We take the Stalkers through the watchtower here. Two more spines. Roaches and Lings all producing. I mean, we definitely are recognizing that we're going to need as much defense as we can get. The problem is it's only Queens at the moment, and yeah, this is going to be Stalkers just winning out this fight. There's not much to add to this, guys. This one was kind of decided early. And then the continued aggression definitely didn't go his way. The warping point is good enough, because, again, you've got the cannon and the battery there to help support it. Yeah, this is just Classic. Playing a very tricksy game number 1. Gonna get himself the 1-0 lead, so Classic off to an advantage in this series. And very crisp with that time. Top right-hand corner of the map, our red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It's going to be Classic. Taking on the blue Zerg. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have ourselves Reynor. The Classic was a bit tricksy. He got himself an advantage. He followed it up well and brought the aggression. Very nicely handled across the board. Well, hatchery in the bottom left of Reynor is then going to be joined by a hatchery out on the map with its rich Vespian base coming through. As well as our Nexus and our Cybercore all coming up right here. I'm just going to be having the probe coming through. Simulator and the pylon coming in. Queen and the Overlord. A couple more drones will coming around. We get everything settled for the moment as our Overlord pops out. And obviously Classic not doing anything too wild this time. Casting against Shin yesterday, not yesterday, Monday in the ESL Open Cup Korea. He played a lot of Twilight Council builds. Wondering if that's going to be something here because of this rich Vespian kind of forward base. And it does look like that is the plan of Classic. Twilight Council goes down, Resonating Glaives likely to be the choice as the Adept setup seems to be coming through here from our Protoss player. As we get that underway and we look to see whether it's going to work out against someone like Reynor. Or is Reynor going to be able to hold on against this? Twilight is going to finish in a moment. We don't have our Queen ready to fight against the Adept. Adept moving over. Robo Facility in the gateway continue to come up. There's going to be 2 more gates coming about. Robo Facility coming through. Warp Gate is again about halfway done as well. As yeah, Shin is Ragnarok. He named a little while back. Yeah, he 2-0'd him. He actually lost him in the GSL qualifiers. And that was the reason he didn't make GSL. Then he 2-0'd him in ESL Open Cup on Monday. Again, a couple of glaive builds worked out well both times and just picked him up some pretty quick wins. Definitely a good dealio. There's a Rotron coming down from Reynor. That's going to be necessary against this Resonating Glaive setup, you would imagine. So we get that ready to roll. As we do see the couple of Adepts going to be out there. The few Lings are hanging around. There's going to be seeing a few more Adepts warping into the high ground as that Glaives continues through and the Prism loads up and we do move out onto the map. So again, just going to go take a little bit of a step forward. Adept's going to be there, getting ready to fight a little bit. Just got all of that on the go for the moment here. As you see those Adepts about to have that Glaives. I mean, first Roaches all coming through. Don't think the Adepts are going to commit to that shade. Too many Lings chasing them down. Classic was very good when he played against Shin at not overcommitting and being very happy to kind of just take it slow and kind of play for the follow-up as well. So I can imagine that that is likely going to be the case this time as well. Don't think he's in any rush to do anything too crazy too quickly. Adepts going to shade their way through the natural in towards the main base. Queens are there, pushing those Adepts away as well. Adepts coming back over. Queen taking a few shots, a couple of drones going down. We do see the Roach is going to get hit as well. Roach is taking a lot of damage. That's a couple of Roaches dropping. Drones going down. Swole gets knocked. 6, 7 more drones continuing as well. I'm just going to be seeing our Ling's going to get a wraparound on those Adepts. Well, I mean, at least we got some drones here. Classic. His Adepts very much so now just standing and fighting, which is going to finish off a Queen. There's one Roach that's low HP there as well. He gets one more drone in amongst this madness. And at the same time, we've got harassment in the main base in the natural, which is causing drones to evacuate and move around. So, yeah, the Prism's in the main. We're going to warp in a few more Adepts here. Going into the Immortal follow-up as Reynor's droning to kind of recreate what he's been losing. The Immortal follow-up could be a very aggressive push, could be very successful for Classic. It could also just be used defensively should Reynor get aggressive himself, so that's also a possibility. options are available here as the Nexus goes down. The lair is building up from Reynor as well, so we get that on the go. And we do see these Adepts continuing by. Just going to lift up, drop back down, continue to try and find a little bit extra for the moment as we do see again those extra drones will finishing. I mean, we see the third base coming up from Classic. I just do not know if he genuinely wants to use that versus just coming across the map with an Immortal Adept army. Like I say, Reynor had to stop to redraw a little bit. His army supply lacks right now. Thing is, as well as Classic, he lost 15 Adepts, but he's killed a good amount of Lings. He's killed a good amount of Roaches. He's now on 3 Immortals. Like I said, I do not think I would just hate him just committing to the move across the map. I mean, I guess you move across the map. He is probing. You move across the map and I guess just take the base behind it as well if the fight is not good enough for you here. The one thing he doesn't have is really sentries. He just warped in a couple. Still has Adepts, by the way, from the main. He's going to get a couple into the natural. Oh, Reynor pulls away from the natural. Oh, God, this is bad because he's afraid of the attack at the front, but he pulled away, means he's going to lose even more work because there's a massive warp into the main base as well. Now, this is a moment where you just back it up a bit as Classic because the damage you're doing in and around the main base and the natural is actually huge in comparison to everything else anyways. Looks like it's starting to be handled, but okay, I actually thought that was going to be way better for Classic. I thought he was going to get a little bit more out of that. Felt like Reynor was pulling away at the wrong kind of times, but so far so good. I believe we still have all the sentry energy. We haven't dropped a force field yet. Tractor goes down, another little corrosive battle drops in. 4 more sentries building through, so those extra sentries coming in. Classic has fallen back, but I mean, again, it's another Immortal, it's 4 more gates. This is simply powering up to go again, right? Like, this is not like a, oh yeah, I'm done, I'm chill, I'm tacking. Like, he's going for more. You know, there's no future tech really being built from him otherwise. Sentry count's been growing. Baneling Nest comes in from Reynor. That could be really good, but we actually need to get to that Baneling Nest first, and there's plenty of force fields. Remember, uh-oh! Team's going to get trapped in here. A couple of corrosive biles will land down, but the Immortal's already putting in some work. Good biles on the ramp. Obviously, he wanted to bile out the bile his way out with the force fields, but by also biling the ramp, it forced the army to step back a moment, and that did buy him some time where he wasn't taking all the Immortal shots. Probably saved him some units. As Classic again just utilizes the position to deny the rich Vespene gas. Now the Prism comes back into the main base. This time there's nothing really... I mean, he's already got the Adepts here. Previously, he's had to stop to warp the Adepts in. The Lings come back. They do deal with that. The 4th base attempt of Reynor is going to be denied on the low ground. Already pushing into position here with this Adept Immortal Force. And now the Prism's just going to set up on the low ground as well. Warp in across the map, though. Those Lings force the warp in over there, which is now not necessary. So that's a good move from Reynor. It's going to slow Classic's confidence down over here. And again, he's bought himself time to finish up the Baneling Nest. +1 melee is nearly done. We're going to deny this poor old Extractor for the 3rd or 4th time in the game, or maybe not. We back away actually for the moment. 3 bases to 3 bases does not bode well for the Zerg. There's the 6 Banes. I mean, there's a question of army quality. These 6 Banes can get some good connections off them. Brilliant. I'm afraid Classic's about to use his final sentry energy before he actually sees the Banelings, which would mean that he doesn't have force fields to use against that. Where are those Banelings at? Actually, no, they're up to the north, so there's a Depth Shade is going to be okay. Good split from Reynor. He's actually going to be able to handle that pretty well in a game because he doesn't have sentry energy now. The Banelings do get to crash through. We warp in a few more units. The Immortal's still staying safe. The Adept Shade in the main was actually a little bit too large. Reynor's split was really good. He sent enough units up there to go handle that very comfortably. We're now out of sentries, guys. We've got another couple of battles to dodge away from. We're eating a couple of these battles. However, Prism's got to stay back because it needs to be able to warp in. Classic's army supply is not looking too pretty. These 4 Mortals have some work to do here. They've got some carrying to do. A few more Adepts warp in. Some of the Immortals now starting to hurt a little bit. A Queen coming forwards is not going to last too long either. Classic is still ahead in economy. As he falls back here, he's going to go probably deny that rich Vespene gas one more time on the way out. Relocate around again. No sentries now. Having to rebuild sentries is extremely expensive, so that's going to be a big problem for him as well. That's absolutely going to be an issue. He has taken a 4th base, by the way, but again, I mentioned it before, he hasn't really been improving his tech. It's still just Immortal Adept, and with Banelings now up, you got to think that Reynor was starting to get into an okay enough position to kind of make this happen as Charge and +1 come through, Immortal coming about, probes in production. Again, just the rest of the Roach Ravager sitting atop this high ground. Immortals will come over once again, knock the Extractor down. Roach speed still halfway done. Plus 2 melee. Baneling speed coming up. More corrosive vials, and the immortal army gets pushed away. That's going to be seeing the extra couple of vials coming down again. Ravagers being pushed back. Depths continue over again. Plus 2 melee, baneling speed, roach speed. All the tech coming through from Reynor. Classic has, again, a lot more workers. He's got good army supply. Reynor's just building units now. I think Reynor is just going to send it. But Classic is actually just going to send tech up. So he's making the right calls. If Reynor's just spamming units, the last thing Classic wants to do is to come in and fight. So Classic gets Storm up, and he's going to... If he gets Storm up, he would be in an amazing position if Reynor came and attacked into him. I mean, that really is the dream setup for a Protoss player at that point, is this Prism. Playing with fire there, getting a little bit low, but it has survived through. Gets to come across this other side and will unload onto this hatchery once again. And then Storm about halfway done. Lings and Overlords continue to build up here. The army of Classic retreating back up the ramp on that 4th base. A couple more cannons coming through as well. And Storm not far from finishing. Plus 2 attack coming about. Have you seen the, again, I mean, aggression coming through here. Storm's about to be done. We do have High Templars. If we can storm these Banes, this is really not a fun time at all for Classic, as there's going to be aggression from 2 sides. So, Storm was up at the top. Yeah, he storms the Banes. That's nasty. If the Banes can't crash through, this is, again, looking pretty rough for Reynor. As we drop 1 or 2 more Storms, most of these Banes will go down without doing anything. Super Battery pops up here as well. Classic has also won the fight out down to the south. The Observer didn't really know what to look at. There was so much happening at once. Classic takes a 2-0 lead in the best of number 3. Let's see if this man in the top left, no GSL for him, but currently up 2-0 in this finals of the Kung Fu Cup. This is Classic. In the top right, our blue Zerg is going to be Reynor. Like I say, it's been a impressive series out of Classic. Been very fun so far. As we get this up and running. Probe moves about a little bit. Gate, probe, and assimilator coming through. Gonna drop down the spawning pool, get that underway. A couple drones still coming about. Again, the hatch coming in, gateway coming up. Get that started for a couple of moments. We'll see. First few moments will be peaceful, and probe does not block a hatchery or anything, so hatch pool, gas coming up. Having our Nexus going down onto that, and again, spawning pool and the extractor continue to come across into play as well. Just having ourselves Nexus still building, the pylon and the assimilator continue to go. A couple more queens popping out as a probe still nibbles at the drones. Nexus will be finishing. Again, there's the Stargate from Classic. Almost the most standard thing he's done so far today. Whoa, just straight up Stargate play? No way! This man can do anything. He can be weird. He can be wacky. He really can do just pretty much everything. As we get up and running. Coupling is going to nibble at that pylon. Drone going to come over. Probe is going to put another pylon down as Classic wants to block this long enough to get the depths here. The reason he's going to invest into this is because there's no alternative third base, right? This is a map where there's just no other way to take a third. So if you can just stop the third base from coming up, Incredible. What do? Take a fourth location? Play off 2 bases? None of that's fun. None of that's ideal. I like this. Shade after that adept. Just make sure another drone doesn't come across you. Correct move. Yeah. Oh, actually shades after the... he shades after the drone. To be fair, he kills the drone. Now the third hatchery does go down. So Reynor does get it there. I mean, I don't know what he would have done if this did get delayed for longer. If the adept actually just sat there. Yeah. I'm actually not sure what the plan would have been, but now 2 adepts together. Still delays the third hatch a significant amount, gets a drone kill early as well. And it's obviously a pretty big deal. I just don't think these adepts are going to be able to get deep enough to really justify the commitment to the shades, so they're going to cancel for the moment. Well, Historical shows up, does not have the greatest at times, fires once and then gets met by a bunch of queens. Less queens in the main though, that's why we do get ourselves a couple of drones, so some damage will be dealt. We have some amount of success there as the link speed continues in. The queen coming about, extra drones on the way, hatchery and a few more creep tumors continuing up as well, just for the moment. As we have our link speed about halfway done as well, Twilight Council still building. From Classic. So that's a pretty quick Twilight after the Stargate. It is triple Oracle, but yeah, Twilight on its own. I wonder if this is maybe still like Stargate into like Glaives rather than just like into Blink. Or it could be very aggressive Blink, right? Where you just go mass Blink, you don't stop, and you don't get the +1 upgrade, so you just get as many Stalkers as possible. Overlord to the upper right side, just going to be chilling in that corner. Reynor supply blocked actually after losing an Overlord to the Stalker. 3 more gateways coming through. It's definitely aggression. It's just a question of Blink versus Glaives, and I think it's Blink because he's waiting for 150 gas. Oh, he was just slow to start the Glaives. Okay, so it is Glaives. I mean, I guess there's also a bunch of Adepts already here, so maybe we should have looked at that one as an answer. Melee upgrade, so a Ling Bane style potentially against this. Banes would be the real key to kind of actually having a good time against this. I think right now Classic does not want to reveal any more Adepts. Right now, you just want Reynor to believe that this is a nice, comfortable game. These few Adepts are just teaming up with the Oracle to try and get something done. And that this is it, right? You know, drones, lair tech that's not going to come online for a while. This is all brilliant for Classic. This is going to be a very difficult defense for Reynor if he continues this trajectory. All these extra Adepts warping off that third base. Glaives is almost halfway done. Remember, this is a very short map. There's the Roach Warren starting now. Oh, that does not feel good for Reynor, surely. Still droning. Oracle's going to dive a mineral line here. Get a couple more drones. Yep. Make him feel like he has to rebuild those. Even less units to defend against the Glaives. That single Ling is going to come in. He's going to see the lack of probes here, but I think he also saw... Well, I mean, I think it's smart from Classic. He only shows the number of Adepts he's already shown across the map. So that part of it's very smart. I don't think it really affects what Reynor was going to do. 3 more Overlords coming up as Reynor gets ready to spam Roaches, and he is going to need to spam Roaches as these Adepts get shading across. He's actually just going to sit on this third base, does not commit into the natural. No reason to go into a dangerous position when he already sees what's alive over here. I would like to see just maybe 2 Adepts go after the drones that go down to that 4th base now. As he shades across, he will see those Lings. He will just straight up kill this hatchery. As now, I mean, I think Classic as well did open with the Robo facility, right? So he followed it up with that. So he's not gotten anything out of it yet, but that's something we could potentially look at here. Adepts continue to get around the back, continue to try and deal some more damage, continue to try cause some trouble across the board right now. And we continue to come around. And just see ourselves the Adepts coming through for a moment. I'm just going to be seeing the Oracle coming about. Just going to go after a couple of these Adepts as well. Oh, Classic gets 12 drones, a hatchery killed. Question is going to be, can he defend the counterattack? That's where the Immortal's going to be becoming important. And a few more Zealots warping in. +1/+1 on the way. Charge coming up as well. Let's just get a few more Lings coming up. Ravage coming through. Roach speed, Overlord speed continuing around. Here is the counterattack. I mean, we try and get these batteries up. This is going to be it for Reynor. I mean, he's got double the army supply. Force field to that. That's not the force field. Surely not. Super Battery comes in. It's going to keep the Immortal alive. The Oracle will activate. I mean, I kind of get the Force Field because you want to stop more units coming up, but like, all the units were already up. I guess the Queens are about to arrive as well. The Oracle's out of energy. The 1-1 on the upgrades might be a little too greedy for this situation, guys. Classic, classic, classic. He's got an Immortal and a few Stalkers on the natural. The problem is his units are going to be so split apart. It's going to be very tough to really fix that as the Lings and the Roaches come across here. The Queens are going to begin to fight as well, a little bit deeper, a little bit further. Well, we actually get to start fighting these Queens. We're going to start killing them before they get onto creep, before transfusions are available, so that's a big deal. Classic is staying about half the army supply of his opponent. It's not getting worse, but it's definitely also not getting better. However, he's about to have 1-1 in charge. That Immortal gets caught before it gets back into the natural. That's painful. Like I say, 1-1. Good upgrades are nice. Charge is great. Is that enough to make the difference here? These few Zealots pop through, plus 1 armor's on the way. Can Reynor do enough? The Queens are trying to camp out on their little creep spread that they've got going on. Super Battery pops on the natural. Again, transfusions available. The Queens are starting to run out of energy to some extent, though. The army supplies, will it be enough? Again, charge lots are such a huge addition. The Immortal does not have a battery there. Every tech unit counts for so much right now. Losing an Immortal is a big deal. Actually, more Roaches producing from Reynor, which is interesting because it'll take Roaches a bit longer to get across the map, and that might give Classic a little bit of time to survive. Queens obviously out of transfusions as well. Even more Zealots warping in. These Zealots trying to do their best in the front lines. There's another Immortal, and he might actually get to join up as Classic is going to defend. He's going to push back the Queens. There'll be another wave of this coming, sure, but I think Reynor is in too much trouble. I don't think this is going to be it for him. A couple more Overlords moving about. Temple Archives 2-2 coming around. The Immortal coming in. Sentries building. Queens move about as well, as we see Lings and Roaches. Queen as well continue to come about here. Classic gets ready to drop down to 4th base, while Reynor is going to start a Bane Nest to drop a Lord. Meanwhile, Classic starts 2-2 in the Temple Archives. The hold is made. And this game definitely goes on in Classic's favor with a 15-worker lead to start off with, which is obviously a huge deal. Storm starts up. Roaches and the Ravager will knock down a set of rocks. And if Classic 3-0s Reynor, that's definitely an upset. I mean, obviously no one wants the 3-0 final, but the 3-0 final one is definitely, I think it's fair to say the guy that missed out on qualifying for GSL is the underdog, right? Definitely makes it a very cool result. And I like his follow-up right now, by the way. Just going to Storm, being very safe about this. Like, Reynor was scary in a longer game, but he's playing a longer game from a pretty awful position. Again, the problem is if you try and, be aggressive. Well, he wasn't really in a position to be aggressive anyways. But if you try to be aggressive as well and your opponent just makes units to try and attack you again, then you lose. Whereas doing this, it saves you from a future attack. It just really kind of sets you up across the entire board. As you see, the Prism continues to cross through the natural expansion. Going to go in towards the main base. Going to get into this in a second or so. A couple of Zealots will start to unload. Just annoyance, right? Harassment coming through, a few drones going down. We've got Zealots on the other base here as well. Reynor splits up well against that. The Dropper Lord gets into the back of the main kind of dead airspace, so could be a problem. I don't think we've got any kind of static defense there from Classic. As that Prism's dead to the Queen. And we'll unload the few Zealots at least, but we'll go for nothing more than a few Lings. We have to warp into the main to deal with this, so Probe's going down, and Classic is the one that has the worst couple of moments when it comes to the harassment war. And he's going to start up a Stargate number 2 and a Fleet Beacon. He's going to play a longer game. He does not feel any pressure to try and push out and end this anytime soon. So he's going to just sit back and chill. Lord takes a few more shots. Bane speed about to finish. Plus 2 melee coming up. And get our drones and our Lings continuing in. 3-3 upgrades on the Forges. The Phoenix going to be there to finally chase down that Dropper Lord, by the way, so that won't be a problem anymore. Reynor goes to base number 5. Classic, reeling from some of those losses just previously. Storms, Immortals, continue to bring this about as we set up on the left, and we do have ourselves missiles, Lings and Banes all continuing through. Spire coming up with that Hive to join in as well. So you bring that through as well. Also right now, just going to be seeing Classic continue to push across into the center. Lings are going to morph into Banes. Plus one missiles are going to start through. Hive and the Spire continues up as well. Couple more carriers coming about. The Immortals halfway done. Mothership still building. Plus one air weapons with the 3-3 on the ground. Also coming into production here. The Lings get a wrap around on these Zealots. Again, with the first carriers coming to the table. Reynor going to Broodlords. I don't hate it, you know. I think it's probably not a bad idea, all things considered. As this drop lord will get shot down as well, so this Baneling drop will go nowhere. It's a good denial ahead of time from Classic already, as tries to set up for his 5th base. This map can become quite the stalemate kind of map. Right? I mean, it's equal amount of bases. It's difficult to push in. It's difficult to kind of... You know, it's very easy to kind of sit on your bases and just kind of defend that setup. Especially if Classic starts to get defense down, static defense in the middle of the map, like cannons and batteries on that high ground. I'm not even sure how much I love the Broods. I mean, it's a small map, so Broods aren't going to be out-positionable, but I'm not sure how much the Broods are going to be able to push into positions either. First by about a finish. Ling Roach will knock down this set of rocks. Adrenal Glands is coming up here from Reynor as well. Person moves in towards the natural, but he gets shot down, so will not do much while dropping those Zealots off into Queens, force a few transfusions. That's where the Ling Roach gets chased around and knocked down the rocks to give access to this high ground base that Classic just went for. There is a drop lord. Really good defense from Classic as he pulls the probes. Ah, that's a spot on defense. The Bane's scouting the carrier in the mothership, and we're still only building... Okay, no. We have 4 carriers now on the map. We're still just building one at a time, though. Carriers, some of them being left behind here, are actually going to act as the defense. Yeah, cool little cloaking. And obviously still get some kills if the Banes manually detonate. 17 probes going down. Classic losing workers. And again, Reynor is building up into the Corruptors, into the second Spire. Broodlords as well. Getting all of that prepped. Army moving into the middle here, as we have ourselves a Classic force heading out down to the south, really trying to find a way to move about and get something done. 5 more Broods coming about, the Spores are coming in, Spire coming up as well. We got a couple of Infestors being brought up. Nice little jump on this 5th base, Classic. Does have units there to defend this. I think he just wants to kind of go to some extent, though. What's the army looking like? We actually don't have that many Corruptors up. I really thought he'd have a few more Corruptors, but most of them have just become Broodlords. This army is going to be very difficult for Reynor to fight against. We actually chased down a single Infestor there as we see the Spores on this position. Maybe we prefer this position then instead. Honestly, there's not even that many Spore Crawlers. I feel like this is engageable. We're going to see a big Roach counterattack from Reynor. Storm comes about. A Fungal Ghost come through as we drop the Storms onto the Broodlords as well. We're going to start targeting down those Broodlords. To be fair, if the Broodlords go down, the Archon Force on the ground is just going to melt stuff. The Roaches on the other side, I'm sure, are going to have a great time as we drop one more Storm in. Classic ahead in supply in this moment. And we are going to see him continue to punch through. A couple of Queens going down. Another Storm dropping in. Broodlords are going to be in continued trouble as Classic. Does he have enough? My freaking BattleNet just logged out. Okay, cool, great, love that. Any which way, we continue to chase forwards, and we are going to be seeing Reynor continue to push through. So continue to go in for this. Trying to get in for the moment here. Just going to see this attack continuing right now as we work our way across. Roaches continue through. A couple of Immortals are going to get grabbed. Going to be seeing a couple more Zealots are going to continue to get warped in. Just going to be seeing the carriers continue to come in for the moment. Going to see the Roaches still moving about, and we have ourselves more Lings coming up. A couple of carriers continuing through, plus 2 air weapons still coming around as well. More Corruptors around at the top left-hand side. As you do see the Roaches coming over, Pylon going to be in a little bit of trouble. just having our Corruptor still moving through. This force will continue about. We are going to finish off this Nexus. Reynor has been able to overwhelm that army, and he is going to be able to continue to chase. Let's just see ourselves. The Corruptors, the Infestors, the +3 melee, all continuing by. Archon and the Prism coming up as well, and man, Reynor, I really felt like he was not going to have enough to win out the fight. I mean, honestly, his ground army may still not do it. Look at the force. It's mostly roaches and lings, you know? Like, it's not a lot of higher tech units, which may just still be a problem. Archons clean up a little bit. Again, Corruptor, Brood, Roach Ravager setting up. We are going to be seeing Classic coming across the map. Again, down in army supply. Obviously, would have to attack into the static defense and everything, which is not exactly ideal. Definitely not great, as we just have our Lings continuing around. Tempest coming up, a couple more Broods and Corruptors still coming in. We are going to start diving down this ramp. Fungal growths are going to hold you up. I mean, we need to get these High Templars into range. We need to start storming. Not super pretty for Classic. Lings continue through. We're going to be seeing another storm on the Brood Lords. Just going to see the rest of the Archon still trying to move through. Stalker and Immortal are going to be there. More storms, sorry, onto the Roach Ravager. Reynor, is it going to be enough? Storms on the Roach Ravager again. It's so low. We're out of interceptors though, and that means that Classic's going to have to back it up for a second. Reynor gets a chance to build up a little further. I mean, does he really just not have a way to fight? I mean, to be fair, if we just get rid of the Brood Lords, then it maybe doesn't matter anyways. Oh my goodness, this is very close, but I think Reynor's going to do it. He knocks down all the carries, he stops the warp, and GG says Classic, and Reynor is going to win it. And that is going to be a 1-2 victory. I don't know why my scoreboard swapped around, guys. I think that happened in the lag spike that we saw. Game number 4. In the top left-hand side, our red Protoss player here is Classic. And in the bottom right, our blue Zerg, Reynor. Hey, Fnatic SCT, thank you so much for the Prime. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. As we get into our 4th game. This finals does not come to a close just yet. On we go. See how we get to continue through. Alright, getting the gas coming up. Get that settled. Just for a couple of moments here. And do you have a hatch gas? Spawning pool likely to come in a few moments as well. Still got the gateway coming about. Probe will come through. You miss Ellie. Well, she wasn't really like big on the camera. She just walked in the room, saw that I was casting, left. Typical Ellie move, really. Probe gets chased around by a drone. I'm just going to be seeing the Cybercore Nexus continuing through. Slight data then for map number 4. All of our grand finals again, waiting to see exactly how this all pans out. Twilight Council, building from Classic, so just going to get that on the way. So immediately a Twilight Council this time. Going to go back to some Glaives play, I imagine. Get that set up. And a couple of Lings move about. Going to go chase around after a probe or so. And again, the Ling speed, a couple of drones continuing through. It's going to be seeing Lings continue to chase that probe over to that right-hand side. So again, a little bit of movement over there as we do have our Lings continuing to play the hunting game. Again, again, just going to be having ourselves a robo facility coming up. Link speed's halfway done. One adept just going to shade by a little bit. Queen just going to be chilling. We do have the robo. Again, settling down for Classic as the gateway comes in as well. There's a couple of gates coming through with the robo facility. There is our resonating glaive, so we do get to see this coming about here. I'm just going to be seeing extra gates coming through. The warp gate is coming. I'm just going to be seeing the adept heading back to the upper left-hand side. A few lings are going to go chasing. They want to go and grab this adept. Just looking to try and catch that there as the 10 gates come through. Robo facility gets settled. We're now going to have ourselves the lings coming back around. Prism is about halfway done. As you see, the won't get about to be in as well, so we'll start to see those adept numbers rise. This time, Roach Run is on the way quickly from Reynor, so he's going to be probably able to. He's probably going to be able to get that Roach Run and Roaches out in a pretty reasonable time here. I mean, I feel like Reynor's going to be very prepped for this. I feel like the longer this series goes, the worse it actually gets for Classic, because I feel like the trickery and the cool stuff that he does is the sort of stuff that Reynor will get on top of and learn from game by game. And so I do get more worried the longer this goes. If it goes to game 5, I would say I'm definitely feeling it for Reynor, and I already feel in this game 4, Reynor is very much so on track to be okay against it. He sees the adepts now, though, and I tell you what, I think he didn't quite notice what was up, because he didn't build roaches, he built the lair instead, so he put money in the lair. So I think he did get kind of a bit mind-gamed here, as we do not have a wall off there. We're going to, warp into depths. They will wall. They will deal with those lings. These adepts are going to get to shade, and they're going to go for some they're going to go for queens, I guess. One transfusion buys a little bit of time. Now the ling's showing up as well. We try and pull back. There's the first roaches popping, so the first few roaches that did get built. Let's just have the adept shading into the natural expansion now. A few more drones going down there. 4 workers killed. A queen in some trouble. Shade out one more time as we go elsewhere. The adepts from across the map are now going to come through too. I feel like Reynor had, again, a good idea of what this was, and then he just sort of felt as though it's like, oh, it's kind of too late for adepts. So he built the lair, he built the, drones, and it actually did turn out to be adepts, and that's allowed Classic to actually come in and do okay in terms of dealing damage. Adepts still warping in back on the other side of the map, and that's just going to be part of the defense there. Now we have to restart the lair because he cancelled it, knowing he just needed the gas to build as many roaches as possible. So that has been an extremely costly experience, quite frankly. Extremely costly as the lings continue through. Probe gets grabbed. Next is going to come down in a moment or so. Just going to see the rest of these lings getting picked off. Adepts will shade. Roaches will be there. And the adepts continue across for the moment. Away they go as we see the prism. Going to show back up. And a few roaches coming over. We're about to finish. Drones and roaches continuing out. There's going to be some Evo chamber coming through, as well as our roach speed is on the way. Adepts will shade. Roach is going to be hanging about. Just going to be seeing those adepts moving straight through towards the natural expansion. First one gets pushed out the left-hand side. I mean, obviously we're chilling out on the adepts right now. As the Immortals have been building, Classic really is just bringing back the Immortal Adept Sentry follow-up push. Reynor is prepping for it, though. Unit is all you see in the production tab. A roach speed upgrade, sure, but now this their base. No saturation on it at all. A few lings just trying to cause chaos back at home. Start to move forward. A few extra adepts warp in. Cancel that shade. We get onto the creep spread. A couple of corrosive vials. Hitting the Adepts. Again, the Roach is just going to get grabbed. And it's okay, Jay. Thank you for the resub. It's Classic. It's big right now. I mean, good force fields does keep this army back, but obviously it's not been a fast fight so far, and the longer this goes, the more time Reynor gets to, add more units into this battle. A few extra Adepts show up. We're going to start running out of force fields. I kind of want to see Classic just dive bomb the high ground, I think. If he runs up into the natural, the units have to come from the low ground. The problem is you're running out of force fields, so I feel like controlling 2 ramps isn't worth it anymore. If you move into the natural, you just control 1 ramp. Honestly, might be the way to go about this. Roach Warren dead, so now no more Roaches. That maybe does allow Classic to play this a little bit more slowly and let some of the Sentry energy recharge. He's not going to go diving through just yet. And it's now going to go up the left-hand side. I don't mind that either. I feel like this obviously provides less reinforcement direction. There's no Ravagers, so Reynor cannot chase this army down at all. Just going to be seeing the Hatchery taking some more shots. Sentries and Adepts still coming through. We're going to turn back around. Force fields continue to drop in. Just going to be seeing Roaches still taking some hits. Roosevelt comes down. Just going to be seeing GG called. Classic is going to take the series 3-1. The Classic gets it done. Congrats to him. Obviously a bit